What's going on, my fellow gamers? Welcome back. Now, we're coming into the holiday season, and what better way to go into the holiday season with gaming than to be shopping for some controllers? Now, this is not a sponsored video. I just want to say it right out the gate. This is not a sponsored video, but PowerA did provide me with some controllers to be able to show you guys and talk to you guys about the Spectra line from PowerA. Now, these controllers are very nice. If you've never had your hands on one of these controllers, I'm going to talk about them today for you. The ones we're going to be looking at, so this is the Nintendo Switch one, and this is the Xbox version. You can use them on PC as well. I really enjoy using this controller. I've been using it for the past couple months, to be honest with you. And I am very impressed by the quality that is behind these controllers. And again, this is not a paid product because I can say whatever I want regarding these controllers. I can tell you the good things, I can tell you the bad things. And guess what? I am going to do both. Now, what I'm going to talk about is going to apply to both of these because they're almost essentially the same controller. Okay. There are a couple things here and there that are a little bit different, but for the most part, they're the same controller. The differences between them, I believe the Xbox controller has more variety as to how you can set up your colors and what colors you can use as opposed to the Nintendo Switch one. But either way, they are still very well done. See, this one just says RGB colored LEDs, and this one says an 8-color LED. So I think you have more freedom with adjusting the colors on the Xbox one. At night or when the lights are off, the controller is when it really shines, and you can control the brightness on it as well, which is really nice. Like for me, I have, as you can see here, I have it multicolored because I like the way that the color scheme is, and it just seems nice. I actually don't have the brightness turned all the way up, so what you're seeing here is not with the brightness all the way up, just because like I don't need it to be super ridiculously bright, since most of the time when I'm playing a game, it is in a dark room or it's in this kind of setting where it's not really bright. So I don't need it to be super bright for me to see. The other thing, that's different between this one and this one. So I'm just going over the differences really quick for you guys before I actually go into what I like about the controllers. Is that the Xbox One has rumble features, okay, where the Switch one does not. And that's a common issue with a lot of the Switch controllers. If it's not a Nintendo controller, like a 100% Nintendo controller, meaning even though these are licensed by Nintendo for PowerA to use, it's not like a pro controller or anything like that. So it doesn't have like the haptic feedback and stuff like that. So it unfortunately, doesn't support rumble features and haptic feedback, just like the what's it called? Just like the other wired controllers that they have. The other thing to keep in mind as well is there's no motion controls on this either. Whereas some of their other wireless controllers have motion control on the wireless controllers. So because this is a wired controller, it doesn't have the motion controls. So just keep that in mind. The good thing about both of these is that it comes with a 10-foot USB cable, both of them. And I love the fact that it comes with a 10-foot USB cable. The downside about those cables, I'm going to go ahead and unplug it really quick. Really quick. It has a locking cable. The downside is it's not USB-C. It's a micro USB. And the reason why I say that's a downside is because the fact that it's not a USB-C, I can't just plug it. I can't just take a plug from like whatever, because everything that I use has USB-C, from my phones to my headsets. Actually, this one's USB-C. So from my phone to my headsets to everything else, it's USB-C. So hopefully one day PowerA switches over to USB-C for all their controllers. Right now they're not. So I don't know why that is. Now, let's talk about the controller itself. This controller, and I have, oh, it's in the other room. This controller right here is basically the same thing as their, um, what is it? Their Fusion controllers. Their Fusion, I call them the Fusion Pro controllers, but they're PowerA Fusion controllers. So if you ever had an Xbox Fusion controller, you know what I'm talking about. The build quality on these controllers is phenomenal. The way that the buttons click, it feels very firm. It doesn't feel smushy like some controllers can feel. Um, I don't have a better way to explain that. The best way I can explain it is, um, if it like you got a satisfying click on the controller buttons. That's the best way to put it. It's like it's a satisfying click on the controller buttons. The thumbsticks are very well made. I appreciate that as well. I don't have any issues with them. The only issue I have, and this is just a controller thing in general, is that you get dust buildup on it. And if I'm gonna be honest, the number one reason for controller drift is going to be dust or anything getting into the joysticks. So unlike the Fusion controller, where the Fusion controller comes with like a case, I actually have a case down here I can show you. So this is a case that comes with well, this is for the headset, but it's a similar case. Regardless, it's a similar case to this one, where it comes in a case like this, where once you're done using it, you can put it away in the case, and it'll protect the controller. Speaking of, I just dropped the controller. Um, but yeah, it'll protect the controller from getting any sort of, and I just moved my camera, dust on it, or anything like that that could potentially damage the controller or the insides of the controller. Um, so that's just a controller downside in general. That's not really specifically to this controller. I was just saying, like, I wish that there was some sort of carrying case for this because it is such a nice controller. And I think because you are paying a little bit of a premium for this type of controller, I would like to have seen some sort of case for it. Now, you're not paying Fusion prices for these because Fusion prices for the Fusion controller on the Xbox Fusion controller is $90, where the Switch Fusion controller is $100. But with the prices that these are at, so this is it. The build quality to me is very similar to the Fusion controller, and you're paying $45 for this. The difference between this and the Fusion controller is you don't have the mappable buttons on the back, which I'm okay with. That doesn't bother me. The triggers are changeable as well, so I like that. But most of the features of the Fusion controller are here on this controller, and that I'm very appreciative of it. The Nintendo Switch version of this, which I showed you, is $38, where this is $45. So not much of a difference between the two. But again, it's a very nice controller, and it feels good. Like the weight has good weight to it. The finish on it is very nice finish. It doesn't feel slippery. I can go hours on gaming, and my hands don't get clammy. And I really enjoy that. I appreciate that because sometimes on some controllers, it gets a little clammy. Like if I'm using like a Switch Pro controller, for example, versus using this or using the Fusion controller from PowerA. When I use the Pro controller, my hands get clammy, and I don't like it because the way that the controller is made. Where on these controllers, not at all. I can go hours and play games for hours, and my hands don't cramp up, my hands don't get clammy. It's a good feeling controller on my hands, especially for someone like me who, unfortunately for me, I'm starting to develop early signs of arthritis. So this controller feels very nice, and it doesn't make my hands cramp up, which I really, really appreciate. So big props to PowerA for making a controller that has a good balance between weight, build quality, and just comfort. The comfort on this, I cannot speak highly enough about the comfort on this controller. If you don't want to cough up the money, or you can't afford it for the Elite controller or the Fusion controller, this is a very, very good compromise when it comes to Xbox, because of the fact that, again, this is half the price of that Fusion controller and has almost all the features for it. Because the Fusion controller for the Xbox on PowerA is still a wired controller. So it's not any different. It's not wireless. Unlike the Switch Fusion controller, the Switch Fusion controller, there's a big difference between that and this Switch controller. So, when it comes to Xbox, those of you guys who are playing Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Series S, or PC gaming, this is a good compromise between this and the Elite controller, or this and the Fusion controller. Because again, $45, and again, coming to the holiday season, I don't know what the plans are, but it's not uncommon to see controllers and stuff going on sale for things like Black Friday or for Christmas shopping. So very, very good controller in that regard. It has a port for your headset. If you want to use your headset while gaming, you can do that, and it has control to be able to raise or lower the microphone volume, or just have it muted by pushing the button. You can mute it. So very, very well made on that regard. Now for the Switch version, okay, the Switch version again has a lot of those same features, and it feels just like the Fusion controller. The differences here is that the Fusion controller has all the extra features, such as being able to what is it called? Being able to use the motion controls. You can use it on the Fusion controller. You can use Bluetooth. I think it's Bluetooth enabled. So there's a lot of different features on that one. I have a video regarding the Fusion controller, the Fusion Pro controller. So if you want to watch that, I'll link that at the end of this one. But this right here, being a wired Switch controller, I honestly feel like this is the best wired Switch controller. And that's saying a lot, considering how my favorite one so far has been the Metroid Dread one. This one right here. So far, this has been my favorite controller for the wired ones, only because of the design. The design on this is phenomenal. But as far as like the way that it feels, this is very, very lightweight, just like all their other wired controllers. Where this one, the one that we're talking about here today, this one feels premium product. It feels very good in your hands, just like the Fusion Pro controller feels. Okay, it's very, very well made. You see right here, I'm going to take it out. And it looks just like the Xbox one. It's just not turned on right now. But when I plug it in and turn it on, it lights up just like the Xbox does. I will say the Xbox one feels a little bit heavier, but again, that's because it has rumble in it. This one doesn't have rumble in it, but it's still a very nice feeling controller. The buttons feel good. The problem with, like, say for example, the Pro controller is the D-pad's really bad on the Pro controller. All these buttons up here on the Pro controller are really bad as well. So this controller feels very nice. Honestly, I haven't been using it, just be honest with you, because I've been using the Xbox One instead, and my Fusion Pro controller for the Switch. So that's why I haven't really been using this. But a lot of the features are the same as the Xbox One, minus, like I said, the rumble features and things like that. So just stuff to keep in mind. But if you're shopping, like I said, for this holiday season, you're looking for a new controller, these are two fantastic options for you. I prefer the Xbox One over the Switch one, only because the weight feels it feels nice, feels it has more features to it. It is a little bit more, but because I also have the Fusion Pro controller from my Nintendo Switch, that's my go-to controller when I'm playing on my Switch. So that's the reason why I don't use this one, although it is a really, really nice controller. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys were able to, or I was able to help you decide whether or not you want to buy these controllers. If there's any questions, I will be more than happy to look through the comments and see if I can answer any. Again, I'm not being paid by PowerA. They did send these to me, but my thoughts and opinions are my own regarding these controllers. And I honestly, every stream, you can see me using this controller every live stream. So there's a reason for that, and that reason is because it's very comfortable to use, and I really enjoy using that controller. So thank you so much for watching. I will have a link to the other controller videos, so you can go watch those. And I'll see you guys next time. Everybody, happy gaming.